All right, guys, so here are my notes from going to a graph to an equation. My goal today, what I want you to be able to get from this is I want you to be able to find the equation for a line that's graphed. Now, to be good in this chapter, it is important to see how graphs and equations are related. So we're going to see how graphs and equations are related. We're going to be doing the opposite of what we did yesterday. Yesterday, what I did is I gave you an equation in slope-intercept form. And then after I gave you that equation, you had to graph it for me. Well, instead of that, I'm going to go in the opposite direction. Today, I'm going to give you a graph, and then you need to tell me the equation that goes along with it. So again, this is what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be given a graph, and you're going to have to tell me the equation that goes along with it. Now, the most important thing is that you remember the form of an equation. Does anyone remember what all in letters this is supposed to look like? It is y is equal to, we said b plus mx yesterday, or the way that I'm used to writing it, and the way that I'm sure most teachers are used to writing it, is mx plus b. They're the same thing, just the mx and the b switched around. The stuff that is important, though, are these two important pieces of information. Does anyone remember what those are? Well, that is slope and the y-intercept. And remember how to tell which one is which? The slope is always the m, and that's always the thing that's attached to the x. Now, after you have those two things, you just need to plug them into the formula. When I say formula, I just mean this guy up here. And then you have your equation. So let's take a look at a couple examples, then I'll have you guys try a couple. So, first off, here's my line. Before we do anything else, every single time you do one of these, you should write down just in letters, what is the equation? It is y is equal to mx plus b. So now let's find the slope and let's find the y-intercept. Now, even though I wrote the word slope first, I like to find the y-intercept first because that makes me find at least 1 point right away. So what is this 1 point? It is 0, comma, make sure you say 0, comma, 3. And now from there, my slope is just my rise over my run. So how much am I rising to go from, oh, this looks like another nice point. It looks like all I have to rise is 1. And I'm going to run 1, 2. So now that I have these two important pieces of information, all I need to do is I need to plug back in to this blank equation. I'm not going to be plugging in for y or for x, though. So when I plug in, it's going to say y is equal to my m. Which one is the m again? Obviously, it's the slope. So y is equal to 1/2 x plus 3. And that's it. This is what we did yesterday, but in reverse. So why don't we flip to the next page, take a look at a couple more examples. All right, so example 2. In letters again, just what's the equation? I want you to write this every single time. You can get some credit on the state test or my test just for writing this, just like we do when we have to plug into those volume formulas. All right, so now again, even though I wrote slope first, I like to find this y-intercept first because I need to find a point to find the slope. And to me, this point looks like 0, comma, -2. Now let's count up and over until this looks like the next point for me. I'm going to have to go up 1, 2, and 3. So up 3, which is my rise. So I'm going up 3 and then over looks like 1. So now all I need to do is I need to take these two important pieces of information and plug them back in to this guy. So I'm going to have y is equal to, my m, just like before, is 3 over 1. And then that needs the x on it. A lot of people forget to do that. You need to put the x on it to show that that thing is the slope. And then plus my b is -2. Now, the only thing with this, if you did this on a show your work part of the state test, this would give you full credit. But if it's a multiple choice part, this would not be an option. What they want to do is they always want to write as little as possible. So instead of writing this, they're going to write y is equal to, instead of 3 over 1, just 3x. And instead of plus negative 2, they're going to write minus 2. Both of these are okay for my quizzes or tests. Just know for a multiple choice, this is going to be what the option is. Okay? Let's do one more together, and then I'll have 3 of you to try your own. So it doesn't ask for the slope and the y-intercept or the equation on this one. This is how it's typically going to look. So what I'm going to do, even though it doesn't ask for it, I want you guys to write it each time. So first off, what's the equation? Mx plus b. I want you to write m equals and b equals. So let's see if we can find the b just from this line. To me, it looks like 0, 6. My m, remember, is a fraction, so I'm going to write it as a fraction right away. And to me, this line looks like it's going down as I'm going this way. It's going down. So my slope is going to be negative, and it looks like I'm going to be going down 1, 2, and over 1. So negative 2 over 1. So now with everything all plugged in, it's going to say y is equal to, my m, I said was negative 2 over 1. It needs to have the x attached to it because it's a slope, and then just plus 6. And then just like last time, you do not need to write the negative 2 over 1. And on the state test, a multiple choice would just say y is equal to negative 2x plus 6. All right? So what we're going to do now is after we flip the page, there are 1, 2, and then another one on the page after that. I want you guys to try all 3 of them. Pause the video, and then unpause it to check your answers. So let's do that. All right. So hopefully you guys had a chance to try these. Let's go through each one individually. Number 1 in letters, what's the equation? Obviously, it's y is equal to mx plus b. The y-intercept of this line, I like to find that one first, remember, is 0, comma, negative 2. And it looks like it's going down, so I'm going to write a negative fraction. Looks like I'm going down 1 and over 2. Actually, not down 1 and over 2. It looks like I'm going down... I see another nice part right here. It looks like I'm going to go down 1, 2, and over 1, 2, 3. So down 2 and over 3. Whew, I almost messed up there. So now I end up getting y is equal to negative 2 over 3x minus 2. Or plus negative 2. Remember, they're not going to want to write the plus negative, so they're just going to write the minus. All right, so let's try this next one. Hopefully I won't mess up this time. Y is equal to mx plus b. I need to find an m and a b. My b looks like 0, comma, negative 5. Check yours, please. My m is, I'm going to find 2 nice points instead of rushing. Up 1, 2, 3 over 1. So after I plug both of these things into this equation, I end up getting y is equal to 3 over 1x. Check and make sure that you have an x on yours, plus negative 5. And remember, the way that they actually want us to write this is y is equal to 3x minus 5. Both of these mean the same thing. The green one is less writing, and obviously math people like to write less. All right, so flip the page, check this back one out. On this back one, which equation represents the line shown on the coordinate grid below? So the easiest thing for me to do every single time is find the y-intercept. To me, this y-intercept looks like 0, comma, negative 2. Which means that down here in my equations, I need to find the ones that have 0 or negative 2 as its y-intercept. The y-intercept of this one's negative 2. This one's positive 5, so right away that one's gone. This one's negative 2, and this one's positive 5, so this one's gone. Now I could actually figure out the answer to this without even figuring out the slope, because this has a positive 2/5, this has a negative 2/5. As I'm going from left to right, my line is slightly going up. So my slope should be positive. So already C is gone. I know that A is the answer. But in order to figure out how they got 2/5, what you need to do is you're not really going to go up 1 anymore. Even though it is one box, this one box is represented by 2 because it goes from 0 to -2 to -4. So this side is 2. This side, from here to this one coordinate, if each one of these boxes is 2, right in the middle of this box should be 5. So they're really going to go over 2, 4, and then 5. So if this is 2, my rise, and my run is 5, that's how they end up getting 2/5 for the slope. And that's why A, again, is the answer. Okay? Hopefully you guys did well on those. Some final thoughts for you today. Slope-intercept form. This is super important. Is y is equal to mx plus b or b plus mx? Where m stands for slope, and for the 3,000th time is rise over run. B, on the other hand, we just learned, stands for y-intercept. I'm just going to write int. And this is where the line begins or starts, or any word that is like that. And when trying to find the equation of a line, first find the slope and the y-intercept. I like to find the y-intercept first. And then just plug in. That's it. You're plugging into a formula. And last thing is, a slope is negative when the line is going down. All right, so hopefully that was good enough for you guys. That is how you go from a graph to an equation. Thanks.